Hey guys, and welcome to Parents Night. We're so excited to be investing the time with you tonight. We are in week 5 of the series that we're calling Make Sense. For the past several weeks, we've talked about how as parents, one of our greatest goals is to raise healthy kids. Emotionally, physically, relationally, spiritually, we want to raise healthy kids. And a huge part of this is found in our kids' mental health.
Mm-hmm. Where are we and what is the current state of our kids?
Well, mental health for so many has been deteriorating in this time. The CDC recently reported a 24% spike over the past year in emergency visits for mental health issues among 5 to 11-year-olds, and a 31% spike in 12 to 17-year-olds. We're seeing mental health is falling apart, and the effects are devastating. December 2nd, we saw Adam Lanos, was a 6th grader. He shut off his mic and his video in a Zoom call with his classmates, and he shot himself. A couple days later, a guy named Joy Smith, a 16-year-old, took his life over the difficulties of trying to cope with all the craziness of this pandemic. We're seeing a lot of difficulty coming out of this. Another tragic thing is we're seeing home-based violence towards kids has been on the rise, and unfortunately, this also includes sexual violence. Something I've seen over and over is this idea that families that are healthy in this time they tend to be struggling, and families that are unhealthy, it's way worse. Another thing that we're seeing is online schooling, which is what a lot of kids are in these days, is unhelpful for many, and for others it's incredibly damaging academically. They're just not meant for this medium. Something else that's big that we're seeing is fear, anxiety, depression, loneliness, unhealthy rhythms, and so much more is crushing so many teens and children.
So what are some of the causes for what we are seeing in the kids?
Well, social connections are broken, and the replacements aren't all they're cracked up to be. You see, as God was creating everything, he looked at all of his creation, and over he said that it was good, up until he came to man, and he said it is not good for man to be alone. We as humans, we're not created for isolation. We're social creatures, and even Adam, who walked unhindered with God, still needed other people. As people, we crave connection, and a major part of human health is quality connections. Mm-hmm. So in this time where our normal connection points are broken and have been disrupted, and in some cases even outlawed, we still need these things, and we still crave them, and we're looking for these things, and this goes for our kids as well. Unfortunately, their options are not always healthy. Social media, for one, this tends to affect guys and girls differently, but while we won't go into all the negative details of it now, I do want to hit a few key points. Like social media for girls often tends to build anxiety, depression, jaded self-worth, and all kinds of other issues. It creates a broken sense of normal and what normal life looks like, because you're looking at everybody else's highlight reel and you're looking at your own life and seeing where you feel like things just don't measure up.
Mm-hmm. So what's another cause of all this? Let's focus specifically on the family unit.
Well, what we're seeing a lot is busy and disconnected, anxious and depressed parents. Parents are looking to make ends meet, and so they're trying to do whatever they can. Parents that are stuck at home and used to working all the time are dealing with major shifts and major losses in what life looks like. Stress is skyrocketing. And here's the thing, kids look to their parents for stability and for direction in life and love, and they need so much more.
But let's be honest, a lot of parents are feeling the weight of this too.
Absolutely. I mean, many parents, like we said, are dealing with stress, constant change to how they do life. They're dealing with anxiety, depression, anger, and a whole host of other emotions and problems. Problems that are very real. Unfortunately, as a result, many parents have moved into survival mode. And the problem with survival mode is the goal is just surviving, just getting through this. And the ones who unintentionally are paying the price for all this are our kids. Researchers have found that when parents begin showing signs of anxiety and depression, it often leads within 2 to 3 weeks to mental health problems in the child as well. You see, kids are excellent observers but terrible interpreters. They see the effects of things on their parents, and while they don't always understand why mommy and daddy are feeling the way they are, they internalize the fear and the anxiety, and they begin replicating what their parents are feeling.
Is there any other contributing factors to what we are seeing?
There's lots of stuff like lack of exercise, sunshine, a good diet. The best way I've heard it put is that we as humans are like houseplants with complicated emotions. We need lots of water and sunshine to grow healthy. Exercise is also a major part of physical and mental health. The two are very tightly linked. We're also seeing a lack of healthy social interactions. Kids are being raised by their peers. Because of the excessive social media usage, kids are learning more about life from their friends than they are their parents. Unfortunately, the majority of your kids' peers, they don't have well-rounded understandings of life. Teens are often idealistic and lack the life experience to navigate the difficulties that we're facing well. Let's face it, most parents lack the experience to navigate what we're facing well.
Yeah.
We're also seeing broken rhythms, and consistency in life has gone out the window. With all the chaos going on, life, like the normal rhythms that we flow into, they've been majorly disrupted. And here's the thing, kids thrive on healthy rhythms, and they suffer when structure is absent. Now, these are just a few of the issues facing and shaping our kids today.
So in light of everything that you just said, what can we do?
A big key is investing in our own mental health. See, as parents, our mental health has a direct effect on our kids' mental health. We need to make sure that we are becoming healthy in order to help our kids grow healthy.
And I know I can speak on this a little bit too. For me personally, to watch it for my own mental health, I have my messenger, close circle of friends that have really been strengthened during this time. So if I need to talk, or I want to share a good memory that I've made with the kids, or something cute happened, or whether it's happy or it's sad, I really have that community to fall back on, and some good friendships.
That's good. A big piece of this whole thing too is we don't need to try and fix ourselves and then deal with our kids after we've gotten to a healthy place. Think about it this way. If your family was hungry, you wouldn't just go eat a meal yourself and then go prepare a meal for your kids. You prepare a meal and then you all take it in together. And it's kind of the same with this. We grow our mental health while also investing in our kids' mental health. We all grow stronger together. Now, here's the thing. That's a big order, though. This does mean that we as parents, we have a lot of work cut out for us. But I want to encourage you, don't just try and rely on your own strength. Don't just try and grit your teeth and work through this. Lean into God and lean into His church. We all grow stronger when we're together. Another important thing in this time is to watch what you're taking in. It's really easy to just sit on the couch and watch Netflix, especially because it's a great escape from all the stress that's going on around us, helps us forget stuff. But we need to be careful what kind of content we're taking in, both for ourselves, and we also need to watch what we're letting our kids take in. Again, it's really, really easy if we're stressed out to just put the kids in front of the TV and say, hey, you watch this, but we need to be aware of what kind of content they're taking in. And I also want to encourage you, don't just be at a place where you try and remove all bad content from your lives. The idea of just taking out bad doesn't actually fix anything. It's like if I said, hey, I want to get healthy, so I usually eat burgers every day, I'm just not going to eat. That's not going to be healthy. You need to replace unhealthy things with things that are going to give you the right nutrients. And it's the same for our souls and our minds. We need to feed ourselves good things, not just try and eliminate all the bad. Yeah. There's a quote that I love from Craig Groeschel. He says, what you focus on is what you become. If we focus on things that are negative in this time, if we're always taking in just darkness, it's going to lead to darkness in our lives. If all you're ever watching is the news and getting upset about all the COVID stuff, that's all that you're going to be consumed with. And it's not going to lead to health. It's just going to lead to anger, fear, and anxiety. Try and adjust what you're focusing on. Maybe focus on some of the blessings God's given you. The fact that, hey, we're rolling into Christmas right now and we got time to to spend with family.
Another thing too is a gratitude journal.
Yeah, those are great.
I've heard a lot of friends of mine and acquaintances say that, you know, in dark times like this, just being intentional, whether it's even if it's just like writing that you love the smell of coffee, if that's all you can find for that day, you know, like just starting small but not leaving anything out. So journaling the things you're thankful for.
That's a great thing. It helps focus our minds on positive as opposed to just filling it with negative. A great idea as well is fill your homes with worship music. You know, watch quality Christian entertainment like, hey, the Skit Guys. Those guys are pretty funny. I enjoy them. Another great idea is have fun with your family. Learn to hang out and just enjoy family times. Do fun activities. I was listening to a psychologist and a mother the other day who talked about, she called it forced family fun nights. And it's this idea of, you know, there's going to be times where not everybody wants to get involved in the family activities. But when you don't let yourself get discouraged by that, but you fight through it and you try to make things enjoyable and fun for everybody, it can be something that really builds in your family.
I love and I kind of hate it at the same time, but you know, you always come away from it with some frustrating moments, likely some tears, but some really good memories.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, your kids are not going to remember every moment that you spent together, but they are going to walk away remembering how you made them feel. So in these moments, lean into just making your kids feel great.
And hopefully they forget the tears.
Absolutely. Yeah, so learn to do fun things together. Go for walks, you know, make some crafts. We made some snowmen the other day with some socks and some rice. It was a lot of fun. Do board games, all kinds of stuff. Be creative, but there's no limit to the types of things you can do with your family in this time.
And if you don't have any ideas, you can always comment under the video, or you can download Pinterest that has a million ideas, crafts, and different games and do-it-yourself DIYs with kids. Endless, especially for Christmas.
Absolutely. One thing that I saw coming up frequently is this idea of focus on strengthening family bonds in this time. You know, a study came out showing that kids who have a strong bond with their parents, these are the type of kids that will they'll spend their free time hanging out with their parents. They are flourishing even in this crazy time. But the type of kids who spend the majority of their free time on social media and video games and disconnected, they're doing incredibly poorly. So focus on building those family bonds. I want to encourage you guys, as well as with your own family, fight to stay connected beyond your homes. You know, friends, family, church. We all have a lot of access to connecting with people these days, but the big key is making sure that we do it.
And I find like be intentional, even if it's just something small. If there's someone in your circle that you normally would see, you know, strengthen that online connection, whether it's just like a photo of your kid or it's just like your coffee or how are you doing today, something.
Absolutely. So a big piece of this is keeping routines. This works great for building family bonds as well as keeping our kids' mental health strong. Kids thrive on routine. It is incredibly important for them. Something else I heard when I was younger is families that spend, you know, at least one meal a day together, their family bonds are incredibly strong. It's this great thing where if you set aside a meal, like, hey, every day we're gonna have supper together, or at least you try, like, you know, 4 or 5 nights a week to make sure you sit down and have supper together, and you take that time to not just eat food, but you spend it talking about how the day is going, what's going on in life. You try to engage with your family in conversation, leave the cell phones, tablets, everything somewhere else, and just sit down and engage with your family. Lots of conversation comes out around food. It's pretty great.
And I think another big part of this too is just putting, you know, the cell phone down or away or off. So oftentimes we ask our kids, you know, for that undivided attention, and
Well, they crave it too.
They crave it too, and they're watching it too. So I think practicing that and making sure we show them that same type of respect.
Absolutely. Our kids are looking for love in our eyes. And something I've learned is eye contact is incredibly important. So, I mean, we're able to talk to our kids while we're looking at our phones, but it feels disconnected. Just like if you were talking to somebody and they were just staring at their phone, it wouldn't feel like you're having a real conversation. When you know you have somebody's undivided attention, it makes a big difference. And it's the same with our kids. So when you're talking to your kids, give them your undivided attention, give them eye contact. It really helps them a lot. Might seem small, but it's a big thing. Another big piece of routines is even though we're moving into a time where you may feel like bedtimes aren't that big of a deal because of kids don't have to get up for school, maybe work's different for you right now. Studies show that maintaining healthy rhythms when it comes to sleep is incredibly vital. Good sleep patterns help with warding off anxiety. It helps keep people's rhythms and life flowing in a healthy manner. It lets them know what to expect, when to expect things. And I mean, you just can't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. So keep those things in mind. Another thing that we want to hit on is the idea of seek God together as a family. This is a wonderful opportunity as we're heading into the Christmas season to really talk with your kids about why we celebrate all this stuff, what Jesus really means, and don't just talk at your kids, but talk with your kids, engage them in the conversation, see what they're thinking, how they're feeling, what they interpret all this as, and it's a wonderful time. The final thing I want to suggest is, as parents, let's try and get a little more educated in this time. It's really easy, like we've talked about earlier, to just turn on Netflix and veg out to a show. But what would happen if we took 1 hour or even 2 hours a week and we took that time and we read a good book on parenting, or we listened to podcasts about parenting, about what our kids are going through, ways we can invest in them? I think it would drastically change how all of us parent if we just took that 1 or 2 hours that we typically burn anyways on Netflix and invest it well in learning more about how to be great parents. Great books to look into is, I suggest, The 5 Love Languages of Children. That's a fantastic book. A wonderful podcast that I've found is the Center for Parent-Youth Understanding. They have a podcast called Youth Culture Matters, and they deal with everything from kids to youth and young adults, and they have a lot of great stuff in there. Those are 2 wonderful things to check out.
And you could probably recommend something too.
Absolutely.
If somebody has like something specific. I mean, you have listened to a lot, so
yeah. So message us if you have questions, if you have concerns, if your kids are dealing with something specific. Let us know, and we'll try and point you guys in a good direction. And with that said, we want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We're going to wrap it up here. We hope that something that we said tonight is helpful. We encourage you to take one of these things that we've talked about and try and implement it into your family this coming week.
Mm-hmm. And just from our family to yours, we would like to wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.